What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Weekend Media Podcast. That is right. We didn't go anywhere. We are still here. We just took a small hiatus. And you know what? If I'm coming back, I'm not coming back alone. I brought my boy, BGT, Brian Garcia Tirado, is in the house. This drift machine is back with me, dude. How long has this been? Well overdue.
Honestly, just by the look of the beards, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. A lot has happened in the past. When's the last one been? It's been a month, 2 months?
It's been a couple months, dude. We had been on a run doing these regularly, and then it just stopped. So it just feels like forever since we've been doing this. As you guys might notice, there's a little bit new scenery here in the background. You can see Superman lurking over my corner. You can see the RTR Spec 5 10th anniversary on the other side. And there's probably a little bit of an echo. That's because I am not in my normal studio. A lot has been going on, like BGT said. So part of that was we have some new people living in the house with us, extensions of the family, and some of the family that moved out has moved back in. It's always nice to have the kids around. So that means that I got kicked out of the studio because somebody needs to sleep there. But one thing that I haven't even told you about, BGT, is that we're actually going to build a mini house in the backyard. So it's going to just be like a chill area. Since Louisa is still in school, she needs a place where she can do her studying. She does everything through online courses, and she can't have anything on the walls in the area. So she needs to have a place to take the tests as well. So we're going to put a couch out there, a desk, AC. It's going to be chill, dude. Sliding glass door, lots of light. It's going to be nice. I'll make sure the sound deadening is real good in there, and we'll be able to rock and roll here.
I didn't realize that you were such a handyman until recently. Or in a photo, I think you're like doing like a kitchen reno or something. And then today, the pod started like 30 minutes late because you're like, I'm picking up a washer. And I'm like, I think this dude's like a handyman, like outside of cars. He's over here like renovating his house. You're building a mini house. What the hell?
Yeah, dude, my house was built in the late 70s, so not everything is up to date. We don't all have that YouTube money. So
$100 a month.
So I ripped out the upstairs bathroom and redid that completely. It used to be a single countertop. I have dual countertops in there. It was a iron tub. It's now a walk-in shower. It's pretty neat. I built an additional room. I expanded the kids' rooms. Both of the rooms are larger now. And then downstairs, we've just been renovating. I ripped up all the tiles, started putting down the flooring, and then ripped out pretty much my entire kitchen to redo the kitchen. So yeah, we got new washers and dryers. We got a new dishwasher. I just picked up the stove. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling, dude. The house is just destroyed, but it's going to be nice when it's done.
I know, that's crazy, dude. Ashley's mom just like redid their kitchen, like in their beach house down south. And like, it was freaking a mess, bro. But when it was done, it was like, wow, I'm up to something. But dude, I do not have that gene in me. I can work on cars. I can build an engine. I can't do that stuff.
Yeah, so I grew up with my grandparents. I think I've said that before in one of the past pods. And when they moved to Northern Illinois, they had like $20 in their pocket. They were borrowing money from family members to get by. And they ended up buying their first house from my grandma's aunt. Or her sister, sorry, my aunt. And then when they bought their next house, they kept that old house and rented it out to where, I think, when I moved to Texas, they might have had like 10 or 12 properties that they would rent. And after they retired, besides their pensions, that made them through the remainder of their years comfortable. So going in there, I was able to learn how to renovate some of these houses and stuff like that. So there's little things that I've picked up here and there. And then much like people who turn it into Tirado Racing or J-Dub Wrenching, you can always YouTube stuff. YouTube University comes in very handy to do a lot of that stuff, man. But yes, but yeah. I don't want to take up all the time talking about how I have turned into Tim the Toolman Taylor. You have had a lot going on too. So you're working with K&N now. You got a lot of stuff going on with Leif Johnson, the motorsports side of things, which is crazy, which wasn't even on the table when we were first talking in our last pod. It was in the backgrounds. You said you had stuff coming. It is now out in the open and here. You've got a lot of stuff going in the drift world. You have your first 2 drift events under your belt in terms of competition. I mean, dude, you're rocking and rolling.
when in doubt, zoom out. When you pause and lay it all like that, like, yeah, we've been cooking because I know you have too. But yeah, man, what should we start with here? Let's start with the Leaf Johnson Racing Team because it's a pretty big deal. So the Ford Mustang Cup, there's Ford Mustang Challenge, and they just added this new leg of this ladder, which is below Mustang Challenge's Mustang Cup, and that allows drivers to get into Cup, then Challenge, then GT4, GT3, and so on and so forth. It's a ladder system to get drivers into those GT cars and classes. And the president of Leaf Johnson Ford, his son is actually the Mustang Cup driver, Caleb Buell. I met him when he was in 10th grade, and this kid was wrenching on cars at the dealership. And I remember asking him, like, go hang out with your friends? And he's like, no, like this is my joy. He was learning how to build carburetors, working on all the classic cars, and he eventually became a technician at the dealership post high school when he graduated. But during that time, like in his senior year, he was out getting his license, his racing license, so he can race in the Mustang Cup, and that's what he's doing. It's a Ford Mustang Dark Horse R. We've done 2 events now, NOLA and Circuit of the Americas, his home track. He's doing good. The points came out today, actually, and he's in contention for second place. So he's doing really good.
Hell yeah, dude. That's absolutely amazing. I've been watching along. I know that they live stream these events. The social media is cooking. You got a team of guys out there with you now. You are running point on this. You guys are dialing it in, and you guys are basically the social media that is carrying the series right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They didn't have I was at NOLA. I was the only person there pumping out the social media, and they absolutely loved it. And it just helps everybody grow. Like that's the big thing. It helps everybody grow. So for round 2, I went ahead and we gathered a team of photographers and videographers. And there's so much going on with this project because it's not just me doing the social media side, right? And photos and reels and that kind of stuff. We actually we're sponsored by Spectrum, and they're doing a 12-part mini series that's actually equivalent to climbing the ladder on Ford Performance. So Ford Performance has their own show called Climbing the Ladder, and we have the Green Flag, which is strictly oversees the driver Kel Buell and his journey because this is his first racing series ever. But Ford Performance love that so much that they're willing to share it on their YouTube page. So my job on ground is helping film for that series as well as the social media. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's gotten a lot of attention. We're at the point where Mustang Cup now, 2 races in, has more media coverage than Mustang Challenge. But I mean, again, hopefully everything's gonna grow. It's all gonna grow. That's what it's about. But yeah, next race is in the Ozarks, the 4th of July. 4th of July, the Ozarks, like racing. Like, dude, it's not a bad gig.
Yeah, I love every bit of this. You know, we've talked so much about how you got to just grind. You know, you never know when something you do is going to take off. And whether it's on your channel or the things that you have learned, you're able to take out into the world and feed to someone else to be able to help grow their brand, whether it's with Leaf Johnson Ford or whether it's with Cale Buell or the Mustang Cup. Like there's so many different levels that what you have done with your own personal stuff has been able to add to that. And also just the background that you have in racing and social media understanding and the industry is made you the perfect fit for this. And if you guys have not been checking out that stuff, make sure to check out Tirado Racing. Make sure to check out Leaf Johnson Ford. Check out all of their social channels to make sure that you follow along because it's awesome. And I know this is going to blow up because even though this is a televised series, this is, when you think of the greater things, this is kind of like pro Grassroots in a way.
Yeah.
They're still building this. So again, it's keeping Grassroots alive to be able to foster this stuff into the next level.
Yeah, no, it's it's like you said, pro Grassroots. Because on the ladder for Ford Performance to get to those GT4 cars, this is the first ring of that ladder. And I'm like, this is the first ring of the ladder, buddy. These cars are, when they're crazy, they're built, I mean, at the highest of standard. And these cars just are flat out monsters out on the track. Truly impressive. And of course, do the marketing side, the Dark Horse R it shares the same engine as the Ford Mustang Dark Horse. So the same 500 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, you can get that same car at a dealership. Like, that's crazy, dude. The difference is like your cage, your net, your racing seat, Hans device, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the cars are freaking crazy. And when you hear all the cars together, like at Coda, it being our home track, and all these dark horse R's are ripping by to get started, dude, chills. It is so awesome. So yeah, it's really cool. I can't wait to see him. Without a doubt in my mind, he's going to go to Mustang Challenge next. And the Mustang Challenge is, they roll much deeper. So it's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, Chelsea Denofa is a part of the Mustang Challenge.
Yeah.
You know, Formula Drift champion. You know, he's parlayed some of his skills into that. It's been fun watching him do that as well. And Cale is killing it for his first season out. And the way that you guys have helped showcase that as well. You know, you have great drivers out there. There are people out there. I don't doubt that maybe at one point in time, they could have been better than Vaughn Gittin Jr., or maybe they were better than a Frederick Osbo, but they didn't know how to parlay that, and they didn't know how to show that journey through social media. And it helps elevate your brand so much to show who you are and what you can do to put you in front of those people that can help elevate your business to the next level. And that's really what's happening now, thanks to you and your team at Leaf Johnson with Cale. And I just expect this to be a wild ride to see what this kid is doing as he moves forward. So that's why, again, I say follow along with Cale and what he's doing. But hey, you know what? We can't just talk about the people you're supporting. I also mentioned that you have 2 rounds of Dreamers of Drift under your belt of actual competition. So if you guys remember, in one of our last pods, we were going back and forth on whether or not he should just go out there and do it. He was saying he didn't have any tandem experience. And I said, F it, just go for it, dude. And this dude just went for it. I'm going to tell you right now, going into this event, we had a little bit of strategy. We'll watch people's social media to see some of their runs, because everybody who drifts posts their runs online. We had an idea of what we were going to do. Man, going into this, BGT was a little nervous, you know, not about whether or not he could perform, but you just get that adrenaline pumping. And I told him, give this man a little bit of space on the launch. When he says he's going for something, he goes for it. You launched off the line, dude, on this guy's bumper in your very first time tandeming. Like you were James Dean chasing down Frederick Osbo. It was awesome to watch. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and sing your praises. Go ahead and walk us through what it's like for you now that you've been doing this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, there's a little drama that happened before even the competition, right? A couple things happened. Was first time ever on 235s when I've been practicing on 245, 255, 265. At that time, I was already on 255s. So I'm used to all the grip at this point, but the tire rule is there for a reason. It evens out the playing field. And we're like, okay, the first half of the day, we'll practice on 235s and get it dialed in. I thought I had a leg up because for the Clean Culture Car Show, it was the same layout. And that's when I first started linking the track, was at that car show. So I was like, cool, I got a leg up. I know how to do this. Go out there on 235s, ice skating, boy. Could not get the car to feel the grip and the side bite when it's going sideways to slow down. So 2-3 runs in, power steering line, boom. We got a power steering leak. Power steering's winding and grinding. And I say, whatever, I send it, and the steering wheel starts to bind. And you're like, what's going on? And you can see all the streams on the floor, and I'm just losing it. I'm livid. Long story short, we ended up fixing it, but we lost pretty much all of practice. We had tones run out and get a bunch of O-rings that didn't even fit, but we just like, we made it fit, and I shoved it back in there, and I topped it off. We bled it, and we're like, good enough. Like, it stopped leaking. We're good. Got a couple more rounds of practicing, and then that was it. It was time for battle, and I still didn't get that feel-good feeling with the car. So, like you said, we said, whatever, we're going to run it. We ran against Edward and his full bolt-on E85 5.0, making modular billet angle kit. We're making modular brothers, right? And something happened, man. I got on that line, and it was just kill mode engaged, dude. And that's what I love about competition. Is like, yeah, give him space. I've seen enough Formula Drift. We're going to run it. And when we took off, his car is fast. It's fast, man. He takes off. So I'm like, I'm floored, which also helped me towards the end of the day. So I'm floored, and I initiate, like you say, on his bumper. And I remember thinking like, wow, I am really close to Edward. And if you watch back the video, you can see where I pull out a drift, I reinitiate on him, and I constantly kept catching him. So, and then in my lead run after that, I can't remember. I was pulling on him in the lead. I was pulling on him in the lead. I spun out in the same corner I spun out in round 2. Now that I think about it, dude. Oh, okay. So I spun out towards the very end, and I just said like, "Hey, just whatever. Let's not cause an accident." Ed went around me. He finished the run. He got the win. One thing we learned, even though he had all the horsepower, he was running like 30 psi on 235s. I was running 15 psi on 235s. So in drift, the car is just really fast for a 4.6 versus a 5.0. So the other downside to that is when you let off the gas a little bit, the car grips up and it wants to go straight. So you have to lay on it, but if you lay on it too much, you're going to catch the car, right? So there's that drifting game where I'm figuring out here. But yeah, that was round 1. Round 1, everybody was surprised. Everybody was shocked. That's also the round where you guys were finally able to sit down and say, you got it. Because I finally was able to just lay down consistent runs. And we did that for I did that for what, 2 hours? Couldn't get me out the car.
Yeah, it was run after run. It was so consistent. I was looking at you like, where was this guy during competition? You had that confidence about you. You flipped that switch and you handled it. And we talk multiple times about how drifting the Mustang isn't an easy car. If you want to be able to make mistakes and easily correct them and cover them, you need a smaller car. You need your BMWs, you need your Zs, you need your Nissans, things like that, your 240s. But with the Mustang, it's such a big car that every mistake that you make, everyone can see it because of that weight transfer. And it's hard to recover it too, because it's really a game of balancing the weight and the momentum of that vehicle. Like you said, you're gripped up. When he's running higher tire pressures, he's making it so it's a little bit easier for him to skate around, but he's not going to move as fast. And if he overcooks it, it's going to be easier for him to spin. Whereas with you really got to lay into it to make you spin, or you give it too much angle. Your biggest thing, and what we saw from round 2, is you grip up and you straighten out. You know what I'm saying? So those are the two different battles that you're waging. And we saw that going into round 2 because you were, again, up against a car that was smaller, lighter, and slower than you. So it was trying to figure out, how do you do that off at entry? And it became a space battle again.
Yeah, and I just rewatched the footage because the YouTube video should be live tonight. And again, you can see where right when I initiate into drift, I start closing the gap on them again. And that's when I let off and my car goes straight. And then you can see where I give up. So anyways, that's what happened in round 2. I didn't give my opponent, Johnny, space in the run up. Because in the drift, I know in drifting I'm going to be able to catch him and close that gap. But what happened was I didn't give him that gap in the beginning, and I initiated the drift, and you can see the gap closing, and you can almost see where I'm like, oh, like I'm sliding into him, just like I did to Edward, right? So I'm like, let's not do that, and I let off the gas a little bit, and then the car just kind of straightens out, right? Just like if you were going to come out of a drift. So yeah, a little bit of a learning curve there. Maybe not run such low tire pressures, especially like in top 32. Maybe I use 20 PSI at San Antonio, and that seemed to get the car skating really good and allowed me to use a lot of momentum.
But wasn't it a different surface that you were running on as well?
Yeah, it was a karting complex, real smooth.
Yeah, we can try running a higher tire pressure, but I really think it comes down to giving them more space on the launch until you start getting into other rounds with faster cars that you need to be on them, because it's kind of the same thing like I said to Isaac in passing is give space in the beginning. You're going to catch them by the end. And in those last few turns, which you got down pat and you could do with your eyes closed, that's where you close the gap on them. And then it looks really impressive near the end. But it's been in those, for your first couple, it's been in those first 2 corners where you have lost it because you're just too close. And you know,
1 and 2.
Yep.
Yeah. At the very end, which is my favorite part of that track. Because when you go into 3 and 4, flinging into 3 and then catapulting into 4, you're carrying so much momentum that if I really lay on it, I can get like almost full angle, wide open throttle, and I'm going fast. and that makes it a lot of fun. And that's my favorite area. So I did tandem with Edward round 2 to get those nerves out of my system. That was the plan anyway. And back there is where I was catching him again, 3 and 4, right? And again, going into that very back end, you're just catapulting so fast, and I can just see him, and we're just cooking, dude. Like, I don't know if you saw those. It's in the YouTube video where I said I want to go tandem with Edward.
Yeah, I saw those, and I think from the outside watching, to me, you need to give a wide berth in turns 1 and 2. You're maybe 2-3 car lengths. By the time you start catching them in turn 3, you're about a car length away. And then by the time you get into that final turn across the line, you'll be on their door. To me, that's the flow that you need. But hey, again, we'll get there. It was not that long ago where you were just learning, and now you're 2 competitions in. And it's been a learning curve for all of us, because when I'm out there at Dreamers of Drift, I am on Team Tirado Racing. However, there are 2 weekend media drivers out there, the other one being Isaac Godinez. You guys have seen him. You've seen Turtle Media on here. Isaac has to work on getting into the zones. That's another thing that, myself and BGT are working on, is starting to get out to the zones. He can link the whole track now. So now it's starting to float out to those zones and be able to carry that speed. And we'll get there. We'll get there. Again, 2 rounds of competition in. Most people by now, with your experience, wouldn't even be attempting this. And you're doing it. The car's taken a couple of hits. But you know what? That's how it goes in racing. Since the last time we did a podcast, I took a hit as well in rallycross. I had some of my worst events in the 1.5 year history of me racing rallycross. Yeah, it hasn't been great. I am currently leading SCCA Houston in points. I am 3rd in points at Lone Star Rallycross for P4. I've been missing a lot of those events due to travel with RTR, and then my dedication and time to Tirado Racing, because to me, that's the most important. I'm going to continue my points chase for SCCA. Hopefully, I'll be able to do the Rallycross Nationals this year. But one thing that Brian and I have been talking about is that it might be time for me to start stepping up a little bit more, going a little bit more serious into the world of actual rally. I love rallycross, and I'm going to continue to do it, but it's starting to get to that point where I need more diversity. I need different tracks. We went out and did a day in Broncos with Leaf Johnson Ford. They were nice enough to bring me out there to be one of the pilots of the Broncos out there for one of the experiences out there at Rally Ready. And getting out there is so much fun. And I hopped in one of their cars and I just let it rip. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, this is where I need to be.
Yeah. It's like, I remember a buddy of mine, he's a photographer. He was like, hey, I haven't seen you in autocross in a while. Been years now, right? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm building a drift car. Kind of done with autocross, hanging those gloves up. Just kind of, nothing against it, just kind of bored, right? Kind of want something more visceral, more raw, something that takes kind of a little more guts to do, right? And all he said was, welcome home. I'll never forget that, where I was like, dang, dude, because even in AutoX, that big ass boat right there, I was sliding that thing around, dude. Like, it's a big car. But I was like, I don't know how to drive any other way. So now that the point of drifting is like you get to drive hard, dude. Like, it's awesome. It's awesome. I like it. And I like the group of people in drifting more because they push you, like Jordan, push you to be like, hey man, you got to do it. You got to do it. You know Vashon, Black Road, right?
Yeah.
SM95. If you go back to my first YouTube video where I said I went to River City Drift at that same karting track, and I showed a car drifting in the background, and I said, you see that? I want to do that. And then I cut in the video, and I'm inside somebody's car, and I say, and I want to do this. And it was Vashon. That's when I first met him. And he took me a ride in his Mustang around that karting track. So then fast forward to what would be 2 days ago, Sunday. I'm there, and it's Vashon, me, Isaac, and Edward right? And I look at Vashon and I'm like, kind of a full circle moment, huh? Do you remember when we first met here? And he's like, yeah, dude. So now I was like, now I need to link this track like Vashon was doing because I've never done a Manji. I'm just now figuring out those feint entries, right? When you're whipping it back and forth. And Sean Coyne is running grid, right? He works at Leaf Johnson as well. He's a, oh my God, master technician, senior master technician for Ford. And he goes up there, he comes up to me immediately. And I'm trying to get in the zone, right? 2 days of drifting. I'm already pretty smoked from comp the day prior. And he's like, hey man, to get into that turn, it's like a double apex. You're going to want to manji. You're going to want to go in there and do a nice big flick and a feint. So go to the right side of the track, go to the left side of the track and flick it in. And I'm like, I've never done this, dude. I've never done that, right? All that weight transfer. Bro,
It's been what I've been trying to get you to do.
right? Right? So I was like, yes, those thoughts are going. I'm like, man, if there's a time to learn how to do this so I can get my car out to Outer Zone 1 at Dreamers of Drift competition, it's going to be today. So I go out there, first attempt, I kind of just handbrake entry it, and I'm like, there's no way because of that double apex, right? I'm like, Sean's right. So what I do is there's two lines, so I line up on the farther side, right? So I'm going in first, second, and I do that flick like you're talking about. First of all, these photographers where they're standing, it's kind of sketchy, but I did it, man, and it just worked. And I'm like, oh man, right in confidence zone again, right? So I'm mashing on the gas. There's a tight hairpin. So the counterclockwise rotation is a little difficult to kind of get down. And there's so many straights because it's a go-kart track. You have to manji to get the next turn. I've never done that. Rashawn jumps in the car. And that's the funny thing about drifters, dude. It's like there's all these people that want ride-alongs. If it's another driver that you know and they jump in, you're like, oh, what's up, dude? If it's somebody you know, you're like, what are you doing? Get out of my car. Vashawn jumps in and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you out. Right? He jumps in and he's like, in the car as I'm trying to do the thing, he's like, floor it. And I'm like just following his lead and I did a manji. I'm like, kind of got that down. They switched the layout of the track. I just posted the Instagram reel. Yeah, pretty much flat footing it, right? Just kind of flat footing it. And I'm just doing every straight I'm manjiing. And I'm like, cool. So I learned my feint, I learned my flick, and I learned how to manji all on the same day. And you could not get me off the track because the track doesn't eat freaking tires. The car runs cool. I'm giving ride-alongs left and right. That's how confident I was. It was two people I knew, but either way, I was like, yeah, come on in. And that was probably my best drift weekend ever. I just was cooking. I did tandem. I did 3-car tandems. On the 3-car tandem, I went completely off the track. I was the lead car. And I can see Dylan in the 350Z behind me. Behind him, Edward in the 50 E85 Mustang. And towards the back, man, I don't know if I just got excited, but we were all carrying so much speed, like even in the Manjis. And I went off and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back on. And I just kept driving in the dirt and they all drifted past me. And then I got behind them and I joined the back of the train. So it was a crazy drift weekend, dude. It was good.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to do a manji or a feint entry, whichever one you want to look at, Scandinavian flick. There's different ways of looking at it, but it's such a great tool to have in your toolbox, especially on an initiation. If you're trying to do a straight line if you're trying to do a straight line run up to a corner like a turn one in Dreamers of Drift, you have to have a lot of grip and a lot of horsepower to be able to control that in a straight line run up. Doing the feint entry allows you to use the momentum to your side to get you out to those zones, to carry you through that corner, but it still gives you the pedal control that you have more power, that you can push it a little bit farther if you need to, or back off of it, which you don't have if you do a straight line approach like that in a lower horsepower car. The other thing too is just being able to connect those corners in a slightly longer straight so you can keep drifting to make it onto the next corner. So it's definitely something very important to have and know.
Yeah, it was, again, just a game changing. I mean, the event ended at 8 p.m. At 5 p.m., I'd driven so much that I was like, bro, I'm done. Like, I can't drive anymore. I was so sore between all the driving of Saturday and then Sunday. I was so sore from all the driving that I was like, this was a good weekend. Like, I can't wait for the next Dreamers because of the skills that I learned on Sunday at River City. Because I want to apply those to turn one. And shout out to Jose, Yes Way Jose, for filming all of my runs and it's been hard for me to conceptualize and see how much room I have to get deeper into the zones at Dreamers. And now with that footage, like I was watching it and I can't believe I'm about to post this on YouTube, but it's a little embarrassing, but click it, we're gonna post it. Because I just want to show people like the progression, right? I'm not just going out there like filming every zone. In fact, I didn't hit the zones until the end of the day on Saturday, and it was just my last two runs. And that's when I told you, like, hey man, when you actually hit outer zone, outer zone, outer zone, outer zone, the whole track experience is different. It's way better.
Yeah, 100%. And so the thing that I love about working with you is the fact that I get to see you learning this as we're moving. It's you can relate to this because you have a son, I have kids. Is that proud moment when you see that click for an individual when they've learned something. And it's every time I go out, I'm seeing that with you. So you're constantly evolving, which is great. You do have your moments where you get in your own head, but that's another thing too that I like about your channel and what you're doing is you're able to see that. We're able to see that, you know what? Nobody goes out there and is perfect. Not everybody is going to go out there and, win championships in their first season of a new sport. Although I will say some of that was luck, most of it was skill. But the thing is, like, that was years of me doing other things and failing before I got to this one that it clicked for me that, oh, this is where I need to be. And in the grand scheme of things for you, you're clicking things off and you're checking those boxes really fast in the world of drift. Because if you look at how long you've been doing it, yeah, you've got 2 competitions in, but this is what, your 6th, 7th drift event total? But yeah. And then another thing too that I'm glad that you did is that you went out to San Antonio and you did that day, because one thing that you and I have been talking about is how you need to get more experience on different tracks. Something that's not the same every single time to build yourself as a driver, and also where you feel more comfortable learning new things. Because even if you do a drift day with Dreamers of Drift, which has been great, there's a little bit of that pressure too, because these are the people that you're competing against and they're watching you and they're trying to decide, how is this guy going to be next time around? When you go somewhere else, yeah, some of those guys still pop up, but it's more of a fun atmosphere sometimes, and you don't have to worry about the pressure of knowing that you're going to be against some of these guys. And again, you're on different tracks, different surfaces, different temperatures, allowing you to learn stuff about yourself and yourself as a driver. And that's why I like doing both Lone Star Rallycross and I enjoy doing SCCA, right? Because I'm different surfaces. Because like I'll go to Lone Star Rallycross and it's the same track, but it's a drier track. It's sometimes a faster track. I race here in Houston. It's a damper track. So different tires come involved, different pressures come into play. They change up the track throughout the day. So there's those things that you need to build yourself as a driver. The same way that we've learned that we need to build ourselves in the world of social media. Because, I mean, if you look at what we do in terms of filming for a rallycross versus filming for drift versus you doing Mustang Challenge or Mustang Cup, it's completely different, but you got to be able to be diverse and flip that switch in a moment.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. It's funny you mentioned that because I am doing Leaf Johnson. Like, one vertical is Mustang Cup, the other vertical is your institutional advertisement. I call it come on downs. Like, come on down, buy a new car, right? I just love calling it that. You got truck month, you've got employee pricing incentives, but like you just said, right? Our team is small, is tight knit. A majority of the car preparation, some of the logistics really falls on my shoulders, but so does my social media. So on top of all that, I'm still running my own social media. Shout out to Jose, shout out to Will, shout out to everybody who picks up a camera when they don't have to film at these drift events, because that helps me round out a video or make content for social media. But I still go in there and edit it, add music, do the whole thing. As you mentioned earlier, I'm on Team K&N for 2025 and beyond. Foreshadowing that. So it's a lot of work. Just because I have a full-time job doesn't mean I can drop dead on my social media and not deliver deliverables per se to these companies because like it is just part of the gig. So I'm wrenching, I'm cleaning, I'm planning, I'm editing, I'm filming. It's just in the grand scheme, it's a lot. When you're in it, it doesn't seem like it because you're just constantly cooking. But yeah, you step back, like you start naming everything off in 2 months. It's like, dude, we've done a lot.
Yeah, dude, it's been crazy. And for anybody out there who's thinking about picking up a camera and doing social media or going out there and racing and all this stuff, man, bring your friends along for the ride or go out there and make friends because it's been wild working with Team Tirado Racing because, BGT is the one out there drifting, but Antonio's out there doing runs. He's out there helping with tires, watering down the car. He's going for food runs. We got, like you said, Jose is out there capturing stuff. I'm out there doing spotting and just trying to help you keep you in the right mental space the way that y'all do for me when I go rally crossing. So it's crazy because I want you guys to follow us on this journey. And I truly mean that because you're going to see this team in FD one day. You're going to see this team doing ARA Rallycross one day. Just mark my words. It's going to happen. And it's cool to see how this builds out because I want to let everybody here know RTR vehicles, Team RTR, used to be Vaughn, his dad, and his best friend. 3 dudes traveling across the country with a trailer and a drift car. Then it became 4 guys. The next thing you know, it's 10 guys. Now it's a team of over 100 people that work for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Motorsports. And then once you factor in all the people that have come on board from Fox Factory to help distribute the RTR vehicles, I mean, started with 3 people that believed in one dude and made it all the way to what it is now. And I'm not saying BGT is going to be the next VGJ, but he's going to be the very first BGT. All right. And I'm going to be there with him. He's going to be there with me. It's fun too, to be able to go out there and do this stuff with your friends and just have the support. Because when I'm out there at track with you, your wife, Ashley, is hitting me up on Instagram. Like, how's he doing? What's going on? How's he doing today? Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? I didn't tell you. Yeah. So she hit me up, wanted to know how you were doing.
I think you're scared of overwhelming me.
Yeah.
She's very curious. She wanted to go. We just don't have a babysitter. It's too hot for Gabe. There's too much going on.
Yeah, and then Luisa's also hitting me up. She's saying, hey, how's he doing out there today? How's it going for you guys? So it's just like a whole family affair coming in. It's almost like it really is like raising a child. It takes a village. But you know what? It's that support from family and friends that really helps. But the other thing, as we have learned and that we're learning to balance, is that you have to understand that when you're on this journey, the true people that are there for you are there for you no matter what. And you don't have to worry about expectations and letting people down because they're there for you and they're going to write it out. And the people who turn their back on you or who talk in the DMs or the chats, those people aren't there for you. And they're probably jealous because they're seeing the progression of a team that's doing what they want to do. When really all you have to do at the end of the day is say, hey, what's going on? How are you guys doing this? I love what you guys are doing. And then you join that trip. I thought it was so awesome because we've done these events now and you start to see other Mustangs park up next to us. You know, it's you, it's Turtle, it's me there with the Spec 5 10th anniversary. Now it's the other guys out there. So when the Dreamers of Drift guys are drive around with the speakers in the back talking on the mic. It's over here you got Tirado Racing and the Mustang crew, and it's a whole line of Mustangs. And it's so cool to see that. Like, this is something that we are building and bringing other people along for the ride. And I mean, you can watch this all on Tirado Racing. You can watch it every now and then when I finally post stuff on JW Racing. But I mean, yeah, I'm turning into Turtle. I got to stop that. But it's so much fun, dude. It's so much fun.
It's cool building it. I mean, there's no other car that I would drift other than a Mustang. It's raw. It's visceral. It's just it's like driving a lion. I don't know how to explain it, dude. you're saying like if you want to drift easier, there's better cars out there, and I know that. But now that I'm getting this Mustang down, it's like I don't know what to tell you, man. It's like it's just the adrenaline pump. And I drive a 4.6, bro. You know how bad I want to stick some cams in this bad boy and just you just have this thing chopping, man. I love drifting the Mustang so much so that I bought a second one that I'm building up. That's We'll save that for next week's pod because I'm picking the car up this weekend. Um, but
Dude,
yeah,
the Mustang is so addictive.
so
I love it.
addictive, dude.
I started to build a 240 SX back in the day, and I gutted it. I had everything ready. I was trimming it up, and then I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going back to a Mustang. I have drifted a New Edge Mustang, an S197, and an S550, and it's just such a cool car when you get it. And that's part of the challenge too, and what makes it so rewarding driving that car is when you do get it. And I've brought this up at the events. And I know Luisa doesn't listen to the pod right now, so now's the perfect time to say it, is watching you guys out there and seeing the building of the Mustang crew makes me want to get another car and go out there. Just to help with practices, just to do ride-alongs and demo stuff. I don't want to compete, but it's like, it's an itch. And I said this in another pod, and I've said it to you, is now after having done rallycross, I know that I would be a way better driver now going out there.
Yeah, I could see it. So when we did those daggum Subarus at Rally Ready, right? And I went around the corner. The guy told me, I was like, "Hey man, how do you get this thing to rotate at the end?" Right? It's all-wheel drive on dirt. It's all different than brakes. So there's no power brakes. Like these are stage prepped rally cars. It's crazy. They just give us the keys to them. So, anyways, and he's like, "Okay, think about it this way. It's like typing a password and hitting enter. When you turn the wheel, you type in the password. When you jam the brake, it's hitting enter, and the car's going to rotate." I was like, all right, bet. So I got to the end of it. And I did exactly that. I went password, enter, and then I gassed it, right? And I'm pretty sure like the back end of the car, I hit one of the barriers coming over the hill right through the top. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. But that drift motion that we're talking about, a little different than all-wheel drive on the dirt. Because I feel like the moment I turned the wheel, the car went that way, right? Like the car is pulling that way. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I could see the allure to it for sure.
Yeah, in my last SCCA rallycross event, I wasn't checking times because I want to find out at the end. It's more exciting that way to me. And I overheard someone say after the first runs in the morning that I was in second place. In the afternoon, I came alive in the reverse version of that track, and I killed. I left a pretty decent gap, and I found out what it was is at the end, coming up to the final straight, when you run reverse, there was a hairpin. Everyone else is hitting the brakes, going through it a little bit slower. Some of the people were telling me that I was saving about 2 to 3 seconds each lap in my way through that corner. And my way through it was I didn't hit the brakes like everybody else did to slow down. I gassed it into the corner. I clutched in, pulled the e-brake, revved it up to keep it in boost, and then just dumped the clutch when it was facing straight and went ham through that corner. Just drifted the thing, got myself lined up, so I didn't really lose speed. And I was like, oh man, when I'm watching you out there, I'm like, oh, I know how to float out to that zone.
Yeah, yeah, that's been the tricky part is floating out to the zones. But yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, and it's bleeding to the other events now. When we went to River City the very next day, like I told you, Vashon, myself, Isaac, Edward, the Mustang crew lined up. Another Mustang pulled up when we invited him to park with us, but he said he didn't want to. And I think he was a beginner. It might be that thing where, like, okay, I get it. Like 3 of the 4 cars there were liveried up with big angle kits. You know what I mean? So he's probably like, no, I don't want to park with you guys. Like, I get it. I did see him driving. He was kind of getting it, getting the hang of the Mustang. I can see the mistakes that I was making through his car, like not committing to the initiation. The other thing I realized too is like there's only 2 groups in San Antonio, A group and B group. And I was like, well, I've never driven with them, so I'll just put B group. Nah, dog, I'm definitely A group. like, it got to the point where like B group went, I'm crushing it. We're having a jam session in the party pony. That's what I'm calling it because I put music on, bro. It is my best driving. We're in there just having jam sesh. People love it. And it got to the point where like I looked around and I was like, dude, I think my session's over because Ashley came. She brought Gabe and she had left. So I think I started my session late for B group. And I looked at the guy and I was like, is this A group? And he was like, yeah, but you're good, bro. He's like, you're good. Like, don't worry about it. You're good. Because every time I was in B group, and again, been there, new driver, I know I have it on the GoPro, but there's a lot of the times where I'm trying to film these clean runs so I can put it on YouTube to show people. And somebody would spin out in front of me. And I'd be coming around a corner, right? Like, wow. And there's a car facing me. I'm like, ooh, shut it down. And I would, like, it's cool, man. Like, I've been there. I spun out that day, right? So I'm like, it's cool. I get it. But it was just very constant. And it was always the same guy, too. And he had the super sweet 350Z. He was white with all this crazy livery. And I know he felt bad because one time I was coming around a corner and I saw him and I started to shut it down. And he drove off into the dirt. I'm like, buddy, you don't have to do that. Like, I'll stop. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely A group driving from here on out with that. Way too much fun.
Yeah, I used to drive out in San Antonio when I believe they were still Club Loose.
Yeah.
They were doing A group and B group then too, but Butters, you got to get down, bud. You can't be part of the podcast. I know you want to be. You try to be part of YouTube all the time, but
oh, you unplugged.
So, yeah, I love everything that's going on. Hey, you know what? If you are a person and you see us at an event, don't be afraid to park up next to us if there's space there. Be part of the Mustang crew. Because if you're driving a Mustang, there's a lot of stuff that you can learn from other drivers that are driving Mustangs. Because, again, there's tricky stuff. And unless you've driven a Mustang, there's certain things you're not going to get.
Dude, yeah. So, like, I think I've just watched too much FD. But I'm really like beat myself up on you initiate, you're gassing, you're not doing a lot of like corrections per se. You set it and you forget it and you send it. And it needs to be this James Dean run. So I'm like, yo, why can't I like link this damn course, man? So I jumped in with Edward, and Isaac. And I saw the way they were driving and I recorded it. I just had the phone like this, but I was watching them and I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, wow, that really makes sense. Let me go jump in with Isaac. Wow, he's doing the same thing. And all this stuff I'm not doing. Did those 2 ride-alongs, right? B group started, went back in my car, linked it. Just applied what they were doing, bam. And I was like, wow, I need to really realize that, especially these small technical tracks, there really is not a lot of set it and forget it. And this big-ass Mustangs, like you got to make some small corrections to get the car where you want it. And that taught me how to float the car, too. At this last event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there's from the couple of times I've been in the car with you too, like you start to do what you need to do. And then just your instincts of what you think should happen start to kick in. And I remember one time just telling you, no, stay in it. Because once you find that balance spot, just hold that. Whereas with some of the smaller cars, you can let off and then but nah. It's just, like you said, set it and forget or just the commitment part of it. But as a whole, dude, freaking killing it, doing awesome. If you guys are out at events, come up and say hi. EGT's got merch. I swear, by the end of the summer, I'm going to have some merch out there for weekend media. You guys are going to enjoy it. Luisa has been hounding me to start getting this merch out. Support us, support the team, support Grassroots, man. Again, it's been busy lately. It's going to get busier. So we're going to make a commitment to doing this podcast more often. I do know there's people out there that do listen to this. Enjoy it. We're going to come back for you guys. Let's see. This week, finishing out work. Next week, dude, I fly out to Michigan on Monday. Got some dealer trainings out there. Then, from there, I'm flying out to the East Coast. Going to do some dealer trainings around Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, all up in that area. Then next weekend, we are going to Carlisle for Nationals. Team RTR will be out there with Ben Hobson. He's going to be giving drift ride-alongs. Come out and see him. It's one of the biggest Mustang or Ford shows in general. I'll be doing stage walk-arounds with the new RTR S650. Please come out, say hi. get high fives all the way around. Ben's going to be signing autographs. There'll be a burnout contest. We're going to have some new merch out there. We're going to have some Ford merch as well as RTR merch. This new stuff is absolutely fire. We have some of these new cars out there. Ben Hobson autograph cars will be out there for sale for you guys. Make sure to stop on by. After that, I'm not coming home. I'm going to stay out there. We're still going to be doing events. I'm still doing dealer trainings. I have events coming up this month in Iowa as well. Might be doing some driving. I've heard that might be on the table for me, but we'll find out. I have SCCA Houston Rallycross on the 14th of June. So come out, say hi. Spectators, it's free. Hop in the car, go for a ride with me. You're going to find a new love for Rallycross, and you're going to want to come out there for every single event. I know, Brian, you got some stuff coming up as well.
Yeah, actually, not too much, man. The next thing I've got, I'm looking forward to June because it's not too busy, so I can start working on that second chassis. June 7th is going to be the Leif Johnson Raptor Rally at Rally Ready. It's actually partnered with Make-A-Wish Foundation. We're trying to raise $10,000 to make at least one wish come true. We've got about 25 signups so far. I think we'll go ahead and put a link just in case down in the description below. 25 signups so far. We've hit $1,000 in donations last I checked. Again, that goal is $10,000. People who come out, they get access to the Raptor short course. So if you own a Raptor or a Raptor suspension equipped F-150, Expedition, Bronco Raptor, Ranger Raptor, you can go and do the short course. You can jump your Raptor if you want to. You get to drive stage prepped rally cars, which is our favorite, and the Bronco Creek Trail experience, which you're all too familiar with, Jordan. So you get to experience what Bronco is capable of with the different trim levels. So yeah, that's going to be a ton of fun. But on that 7th, I'm also taking my son to Monster Jam. So that's going to be a packed day in the morning, leading up to Monster Jam in the evening. I want to take him while the magic of Gravedigger is still there. Why does every child know Gravedigger? It's crazy, the craziest thing. So I'm committing to that. The 14th is his actual birthday party. So that's really all I have for that month. But come July, brother, 4th of July, Ozarks Mustang Cup. And then right after that, we're going to be getting ready for Texas Heat Wave Tour at Travis County Expo Center. We're doing a full drift demo ride-along program. We're bringing out all the stops for that. All the Mustang guys are going to team up. Goal is to have the biggest display. It's going to be 100% a show of force. So that's going to be the event to be at. So if you want to ride with any of us in our crew, that's going to be the event.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I'm loving the trajectory that we are on right now. I love the fact that I'm going to be out at Carlisle 4 Nationals. Like I said, if you guys are going to be in the area, stop by and see us. If you're in Texas, though, and you can't go out to Carlisle 4 Nationals, please go to that event out there with the Raptors. We will put the link down below in the description. It's for a really, really good cause. If I was going to be here, I hands down would be going to that event. And it sucks that it overlaps with something else that I'm doing because I did want to go to that. But we do have a lot of other stuff coming on, but we will have some more podcasts between now and then. So again, thank you guys for listening to our podcast here. Look forward to more stuff from us on Weekend Media. I'm going to start posting more on our social medias. We did a bunch of stories during the last Dreamers of Drift. We're going to start doing more posts and behind the scenes stuff. Make sure to go over to Tirado Racing on YouTube and Instagram to follow him there. Go over to J_Dub_Racing on Instagram to follow me and everything that I'm doing, or Jordan Wheeler on Facebook. Hey, this has been a good one, BGT. I'm glad that we are back, and I look forward to it.
There's a lot going on. A lot going on. I'm happy to be back. That is good, man. That's good.
Yep. Hey,
we got another one.
Absolutely. Until the next one, I am Jordan Wheeler. This is Brian Garcia Tirado. This has been Weekend Media Podcast. Peace.
Peace out.